It started with a video. My cousin Tia filmed it at my niece's christening in Lewisham, where the whole family had crowded into my sister's terrace, drinking instant coffee under sagging tinsel. The kitchen was packed and greasy. I was at the battered counter, piping cream into little chew buns, all summer sweat and trembling hands, my apron already dusted white to the elbows. Tia's voice cut through everything, sharp as vinegar. "Oi, look at Chef Gordon Ramsay over here," her phone glinted in my face. "Hold on, everyone," the others turned, my mother, my aunts, my cousins, all packed into the postage stamp kitchen. "Go on, show us, Mark," that was Uncle Reg, already red from lager. "Bet you'll open a bakery in the West End next, eh?" This was their joke, relentless, since I'd told them I wanted to be a pastry chef 2 years ago. I never meant it for laughs. I meant it quietly, honestly, trying to keep the tremor out of my voice. But they howled even now, and Tia kept filming as Regea snatched a bun off the tray and took a dramatic, rolling-eyed bite. "Look at that," Tia zoomed in, giggling. "Chef Mark's first review," Reg pretended to choke. "Blimey, that's a soggy bottom, the bake-off lads would weep." "And how much you making pissing about with cakes?" Aunt Denise chimed in, half as a joke but mostly not. "Still at the petrol station, last I heard." I stood there, cheeks burning, hands sticky and trembling, while my own family roasted me. The laughter swelled, packed tight around me, hot and dizzying. I wanted to run. Instead, I forced a smile, wiped my hands on my apron, and muttered about putting the rest in the fridge. A week later, Tia posted the video on Instagram, tagging me and adding a crying laughing emoji. Then came Facebook, Twitter, even TikTok, filtered with dancing memes and sarcastic captions. "Future Michelin chef," people from school messaged. "Is this you, Mark? Ha 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 ha." The video spread. Soon, even strangers found me. I tried deleting my social media, but a few kids who used to chuck chips at my head in school DMs found my mum's phone number and left voicemails for a week. Every time I walked down the street, I swore someone recognized me, their faces creasing with suppressed laughter. For months, shame clung to my skin worse than flour. I kept working nights at the Shell garage off the high street, stacking crisps and refilling Costa dispensers, hiding my face behind the counter. At home, my mother knocked at my door with fat-fingered knuckles, silent except for a cup "Oh, tea's out for you." She was always careful not to mention the video, the dream, or anything like it. But sometimes at dinner, Dad would clear his throat, a throat clear that meant, "Better get real about the world, son." I nearly gave up, but something stubborn, a tiny spark refusing to go cold, kept me going. In the dead hours between midnight and morning, I watched pastry videos on YouTube, the Pierre Hermé and Dominique Ansel ones, even when the Wi-Fi choked and stuttered. I bought second-hand cookbooks covered in old stains and notes. When no one was awake, I practiced piping meringue onto lined trays, working from muscle memory alone. Money was tight, always was, always will be, I thought, but I saved coppers in a jar, enough to take a part-time course at a catering college out in Enfield. I didn't tell anyone. I'd catch the night bus still smelling of unleaded, collar turned up. There were younger kids in immaculate whites. I was 23, always tired and older than my years. The instructors never laughed. They barked, told you straight when you'd overworked the dough or let the croquembouche lean too far, but they never snickered or rolled their eyes. When one of them, a Frenchman named Benoit, handed me a perfect strawberry lacquered tart and said, just quietly in passing, "Good palate, Mark," I nearly cried. My graduation was small, just a photocopied certificate. I stuck it in my drawer where no one would see. By then, the viral video was old news, replaced by 100 other small humiliations in the world's ceaseless churn. But the bruises remained, invisible under my skin. I sent my CV trembling to every bakery and hotel kitchen in London, got ghosted, got polite refusals, got not enough experience, got don't call us. Half the time, they knew my name, the video. "You the cake guy," one manager said with a twitch of his lips. I left before finishing my sentence. Then, finally, in a side street patisserie near Paddington, a tiled floor scented with burnt caramel and fresh bread, they gave me a shift. I would work prep, nothing fancy, just softening butter, weighing flour, cleaning. It wasn't much. Most nights I was so tired I'd nod off on the train home, wake up near Heathrow and have to double back. But each dawn I returned, rolling dough, folding pastry, burning my fingers and not minding at all. 6 months in, head pastry chef Leela called me over. "We're down a baker tomorrow." "You work the station?" "Yes." Her accent was crisp, her eyes coppery and unreadable. I worked that day hunched over lemon tarts, fingers trembling, trusting that countless unseen repetitions would not fail me. Leela nodded once and sharply when she tasted my pate sucré. When no one else was around, she muttered, "Maybe I keep you." They did keep me. I rose slowly. I started inventing. A salted honey eclair, chestnut financiers dusted with bitter cocoa, a sticky brown butter tart with black pepper crust that sold out on weekends. Word spread not by video but mouth. Customers asked for the new guy's cannelle, businessmen and students alike. When the owners offered me more hours, I quit the station job with shaking hands. Dad grimaced but said nothing. Mum made a chocolate sponge, which was her way of being proud without words. I pushed harder, staying late, testing variations, always doubting and always driven. The circle grew. Photos on food blogs, an offer to help open a pop-up in Soho. The pop-up flared, vanished, then a new job at a marble-countered place in Notting Hill, this time as junior chef, then laid, then dizzyingly head pastry chef printed on my business cards. The city grew smaller, bakeries knew me now. My face appeared in a local magazine, one slim, bemused photo in a pastel apron, a tray of caramel-glazed puffs in hand. They asked about origin stories. I didn't mention ridicule, only humble beginnings. Then 3 years after Tia's video, I landed the thing I never let myself dream. An invitation to compete on Sweet Genius UK, the only pastry competition that mattered, filmed in a proper kitchen, not a family one. When the episode aired, Mum watched in real time, cheeks white with worry. I crushed the first round, flaky palmier, lemon-scented with a ruby grapefruit glaze. In the final I stood shaking, hands so damp I could barely plate the spun sugar, but then came silence, awaiting judgment. When the host, in his crisp suit and perpetual scowl, tasted my dessert and paused, eyes fixed on mine before breaking into a rare smile, my knees nearly gave. "You've got a future far beyond this show," he said. It was on camera, public, uneditably real. The morning after, the cafe phone wouldn't stop ringing. Requests poured in for catering, for masterclasses, for interviews. People recognized me in the wild, sometimes by face, sometimes shockingly for my food. The eye-rolling, the chuckles, they faded. There was no more shame to hide from, but beneath the newness was an itch, an unfinished page at the start of my story. I hadn't been home, really home, since the video, since the laughter and the scorn. I'd avoided birthdays, skipped dinners, made myself scarce. The thought of return twisted my insides, but I couldn't run forever. So on the thick, roasted gold morning of my niece's 5th birthday, the same niece whose christening started everything, I returned. The house in Lewisham was as I remembered. The garden a ragged patchwork of earth and toy cars, the kitchen somehow shabbier, the radio blaring old soul songs. Mum answered the door, arms outstretched and eyes shiny. Dad shuffled behind, his hair thinner, his face still mostly expressionless. Aunt Denise peered around the banister, one brow cocked, already smirking. "Here's the star, got your chef's hat with you." I stepped inside carrying a box, white and tied with cotton string. My tools, my hands, and the contents inside were my answer. Tia, blithe and grinning as ever, snatched her phone. "Go on, Chef Mark, in the kitchen. We've been waiting for a show." My pulse thundered. For a wild moment, I wanted to run again, out onto Lewisham High Street, past the butchers and Afro-Caribbean grocers, and all the faces I swore were laughing. But I set my jaw, cleared my throat. "All right," I said, "but let me do it properly." I unpacked the cakes. No supermarket slabs this time, but entremet, miniature tarts in mirror glazes that caught the window light and fractured it into colors. There were honeyed chew buns, raspberry mousse domes, pistachio madeleines piped with lemon cream. Each was stamped with my new patisserie's name, crisp and clear. The kitchen fell silent. Even Uncle Reg, looming in the doorway, grew still. Mum touched the shine of a chocolate sphere as if it might vanish. "This is just showing off now," Denise said, but her voice faltered. She reached, took a blood orange tart and bit. The silence deepened, expectant. "Jesus, that's," she started, her face softening, her mouth working but the old barb forgotten. Tia, filming without words, panned over the spread, then lifted a profiterole to her mouth. Her eyes shot wide. She grinned in pure, guileless delight. Uncle Reg licked sugar off his fingers. Did you really make all this?" I nodded. "It's what I do now. I've got the shop in Notting Hill." And I reached and placed a glossy magazine on the counter's edge, open to a photo, me in uniform smiling beside the host of Sweet Genius, all teeth and white jackets. Dad stared, Denise's jaw slackened. On the opposite page was a half-page article on London's rising pastry star. No one joked, they just stared, the proof undeniable. The cakes spoke for me. My niece, all curls and pink ribbons, ran to my side and tugged my sleeve. Uncle Mark, can I have the shiny one? Her voice was clear and hopeful. Of course, love, I said, setting the moose dome on a plate, brushing silver dust across its crest. Mum pulled me close, sudden and soft. We are proud, Mark. Her voice was a whisper but rich and true. The others tucked in, wonder growing with every bite. I could see regret flicker behind Denise's eyes, a softness in Tia's laugh. Even Dad nodded once gruffly, but his hand lingered on my shoulder. The shame had been long and the road cruel, but in that moment, surrounded by the scent of vanilla and caramel and family, I no longer felt small. The kitchen, the same battered old place, felt different, the light warmer, the faces familiar and finally kind. Afterwards, Tia asked for a selfie, not to mock this time, but to send to her friends proof of knowing me. When I left, the sky was heavy with clouds, rain threatening but not yet breaking. I carried nothing but an empty cake box and a heart that felt feather-light. Crossing Lewisham, past the chicken shops and the library, I caught my reflection in a shop window. Not just the cake guy anymore or the joke from a viral video, but myself, cleared of shame, bright with courage, and finally, after all those bitter years, at home.